Opera lovers in Boston will have a chance to enjoy yet another discovery out of Eastern Europe in the newest production by the Commonwealth Lyric Theatre. This time, the company is performing a comic opera by the Ukrainian composer Semyon Hulak-Artemyevsky. The title is Zaporozhets za Dunaim, or Cossack, Beyond the Danube. To tell us about the production are the company's executive director, Olga Lysovskaya, and the music director and conductor, Lydia Yankovskaya. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Chris, and wonderful pronunciation in Ukrainian.
In Ukrainian, okay. I cannot tell the difference, but start with the story here. Cossacks, Danube, what's going on here?
Well, we deliberately translated the title Cossack Beyond the Danube, because the original it says Zaporozhets za Dunaim, Zaporozhian, and for the American audiences, Cossacks immediately evokes Ukrainian and Russian Cossacks. And so these are Ukrainian Cossacks who are forced to go beyond the Danube River, which is Turkey, at that time Ottoman Empire, and live there under Turkish rule, and they were forced to help the Turkish Sultan with military force, as part of his military force. And historically, this happened because the Empress Catherine the Great forced the Ukrainian Cossacks off their homeland to punish them for collaborating with the Turkish soldiers. But in the opera itself, we do not see this reference, this historical reference, because it was censored by the Russian Tsar during the Russian Empire. And anyway, the focus of the opera is more on the folklore and the family and the love and the patriotism of Cossacks there.
Lydia, there's a combination of traditions in this music. You've got Ukrainian, you've got Russian, because the composer was recruited by the father of Russian opera, Glinka, and it sounds so Italian, at least some part of it.
Well, Hulak-Artemyevsky studied in Italy for some time. He was a very accomplished singer as well as a composer, and he studied the bel canto tradition in Italy for several years. So you certainly hear some of that infused into the music. But to me, the music is very much Ukrainian. It's, of course, also influenced by Russian music, because Artemyevsky studied and lived and performed in Russia for an extended period of time as well. But there is a folkloric musical tradition that is very strong in the Ukraine, that is very much specific to the region. And Hulak-Artemyevsky incorporates this tradition into a more traditional operatic style in a way that I think separates this opera from really anything else you hear from the region.
Well, I'm going to ask you about one of the excerpts here, and I guess this must have been one of the hits from the opera. It's the aria sung by one of the characters, Andriy.
Andriy, the young Cossack who is bringing the news, the mystery, the secret news from Cossacks from homeland. And so he's like a spy traveling beyond the Danube, but he's caught by the Turkish forces. And but thank God, the Sultan turns out to be a very generous and nice Sultan. He releases all the Cossacks to go home, and in this aria, Andriy prays to God to bring them safely home.
Lydia, you're not just dealing with instrumentalists and singers here. There's going to be some other elements in this opera that really is going to make it very vivid.
Yes, it's certainly opera on a full scale. We have a dance ensemble joining us from New York, a choreographer from New York, that we're really excited to have. They specialize in Ukrainian traditional dance, actually. We have fantastic costumes, many of which are traditional Ukrainian costumes. Olga actually today is wearing an example of a part of traditional Ukrainian dress. And generally, there's even much more involved with this.
Yes, much more jewelry, but I just kept it down a little bit for the interview.
So we have fantastical costumes. We have a set designer who is based in Moscow, actually, who's a very accomplished designer in Moscow, who is creating a set for us. And we're actually not only performing this production in Boston and doing some smaller outreach concerts as part of our performance here, we're also taking it to Hartford and to Albany. So we needed to create something that is very effective, but at the same time portable. So we have a designer who is incredibly imaginative and who has come up with a way to create a production that on the one hand is traditional and conveys very clearly what the countryside in that region would have felt and looked like at the time, but at the same time has created something that very clearly conveys the sense of the place and the sense of the people. We also have a chorus. We have several, actually, choruses joining together, some members of our own regular chorus, and also a chorus from Hartford, Connecticut, that will be joining us as well. And that is a Ukrainian chorus full of Ukrainian speakers. So we're very excited to bring all of these people and these elements together. And I think most importantly, we have people from a really wide range of backgrounds joining our production.
And as you can see, it's Russians and Ukrainians working in peace and harmony.
And Americans and Turks. We even have a Turkish thing here.
At a time like this, with all the conflict going on over there, you know, it's how do people handle that?
Well, first of all, this opera is definitely our way to say, look, there's a beautiful Eastern European operatic gem, and we want to bring it to the audiences as wide as possible, to Ukrainian, to Russian, to Turkish, to American, to everybody. But of course, we realize the timing cannot be better for a Ukrainian opera to be presented because now people are realizing that Ukraine is actually a nation and they have their own roots, their own culture. And at the same time, we want to say that Ukrainians and Russians have always worked together, and this opera actually was first performed in Russian language in 1863 at St. Petersburg. And we are striving to present this piece as an effort for peace between all the nations. And actually, the interesting thing is that a TV crew from Belgium found out that we're doing this effort, and they're going to make a documentary about us. They are traveling here to make a documentary, and then in Opera House in Brussels, they will have a big presentation with high-level officials coming, including the European Union President, former European Union President, and a lot of artists and singers. They will be joining us in the effort to spread peace and harmony in the world.
And finally, Olga, the times of the performances, or at least where people can get some more information?
Yes, so the best way to get information is www.commonwealthlyrictheater.com. In Newton, Massachusetts, on May 14th and 15th at First Church, Baptist Church in Newton on 848 Beacon Street at 8 p.m.
Great. Well, thank you both very much, Olga Lisovskaya and Lydia Hinkovskaya.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Up ahead, the report from Dorchester with Bill Forey.